Hi everybody and welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz. That's not Jack, but he's standing in behind the camera because Jack's in the back taking care of the kid. Because he's like a loving parent or something or other. I don't know. So today we're going to do a recipe that I've done a couple of hundred times in my life relatively easily, but I've heard of a new way to do it. So we're going to try French toast, but it's got a bunch of weird stuff in it. So I'm going to call it very Americanized. So maybe like freedom toast. Yeah, there we go. Let's try this. Alright, so once again, super simple. Gonna need some bread, quarter cup of
Milk?
for some reason. I don't know, it's the recipe. 4 eggs, cinnamon, which is completely optional, sugar, but just like a little bit, yeah. And then vanilla extract, if you got it, just like a splash. And then bacon, because everybody keeps begging for bacon. So bacon, apparently food's band-aid. If you don't know how to do anything else, do this. Usually it's too expensive, so we're going to try to do it here. So just turn that on to medium, right? Pull your bacon apart and cook it. Now, there's a couple different ways to cook bacon. I usually just like it, scare it with the fire real bad, make sure there's no bacteria left on it. Lay it out here. If you got any fancy griddles or whatever, this is the way to do it, but you can just throw it in a fry pan and you're done. So while you're waiting for the bacon to cook, you go ahead and mix this into a bowl outside of it, right? So put your 4 eggs in here and just crack them all in there. Make sure you get all the shells out if they go in. Don't worry if they fall in there.
Yeah.
They almost come off perfect. Like
Almost.
little 1969 braziers. What, they're all like bullet shaped. And then you take those and then just put that milk just right in there. They said to add a quarter cup. I don't stand. Growing up, it was always just eggs and bread, and then you sprinkle the stuff on it. And then they said a splash of this.
However much that is.
So that's more of a pour than a splash. So it was a little more vanilla-y. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar, which seems like a lot, but you're going to spread it out over a lot of bread. And compared to what we used to put into like our Raisin Bran to make it edible, that's nothing.
A couple cups of sugar with that cereal.
And then the cinnamon, I didn't like the cinnamon just because it always clumps up. It doesn't blend with anything. So they just said just however much, and then way too much fell out. So it was way more cinnamon
There's a lot of cinnamon.
And then I use a fork, shove all this stuff away. Don't let that one escape. And then try to whisk everything in. You want to make sure to puncture the eggs and just whisk it as best you can.
Yeah, cinnamon doesn't like to mix.
At all. And it just takes forever, but you make sure all the rest of it is nice and frothy, and then the bread will mess with the cinnamon once it's in there. So now you got your bacon. So you start to pink. This is good enough for me. This is like bacon-flavored bubble gum. It's fine. Like a little darker. Some people want it darker. I'm fine with this. I want it chewy. I don't want it to break or shard or any of that kind of stuff, right? Alright, so I'm going to take this quick break while I'm cooking this bacon and have this quick PSA. I just had to explain it to Letty. Look, if I give you a piece of steak and you bite into it and that son of a bitch crunches, it's burnt, right? I give you a piece of chicken. I'm not talking about the skin, but if the meat crunches, it's burnt. So if I give you a piece of meat and you can hold it by one point and it sticks straight the fuck out like this, that's burnt. If you take and make bacon crispy like that, it's burnt fucking bacon. Right? I give you a pork chop and you bite into it and it feels like you're eating a mouthful of gravel. That's fucking burnt pork chop. Why would the bacon be any better? It tastes like bacon flavored charcoal. It's not good. So remember that. If you brown it, you can make it a little tougher than I like it. I use bacon flavored bubblegum. But if it crunches, it's burnt. What's wrong with y'all? So you got your wiggly bacon, you pull it off. Now you got bacon grease. Now this was really greasy. You can pour some of this stuff out or leave it in there. I try to keep it because our pan's all warped and wobbled because it's secondhand. It's off to one side. So get your bread and just right into the egg mixture, kind of buoyancy around. Now if you didn't mix it right, you're going to have these big chunks of egg hanging off of it. It's just going to be like a fried egg stuck to the side of your bread, which is gnarly. Take it, put it over here. Now, we always used to use butter or whatever grease, like we used breakfast sausage or whatever to kind of cook it, keep it from sticking on the bottom and drying out, which is horrible, because then it just turns into really like burnt toast in the bottom of the thing. See, like this, where it's kind of like eggy one side like that?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of egg.
Let's slide it in there. And then just make sure it fits in there. Like that grease is going to be in there. It's not like we're making gravy out of it or nothing. Try to drown it, but it cooks that egg. You gotta let it sit in there and start browning a little bit. It's kind of hard because the cinnamon in there makes it brown, right? So you can kind of see where it's brown. Is it cooked or is it cinnamon? You have to see where, and then somebody yells about this stuff, just play the world's smallest violin. As I said, there's too much grease.
Too much grease in my bread.
But you'll feel that the eggs will start cooking. You drain that grease out of it, right? And then you get that pulled up. And flip it over. You'll start to see how browning it is, and where the bread's cooked, because it's cooked before it goes in there, and where the egg's all cooked on the outside of it. So once you get that brown, now this is in case you didn't want to cook the bacon and stuff. You can put it in there dry. You can put a little bit of butter around just a little bit around the edges, or a little bit of oil or something. Like this is just the residue. Like if you didn't clean the pan from last night, and you just want to throw the French toast in there. This is just to show you the difference. Like the other one, it's gnarly because the egg's like on top of the grease cooking.
Yeah.
Like this one, it's not going to be there, so it's going to be more uniform, but it's flat, so it'll be a lot of egg on the outside of it. So, yeah, use grease if you want it mixed in there, or if you don't, do it this way. Now you'll see when you flip it over, if you got a bigger skillet than we have, it'll be more uniform brown. You can see where it gets the edges. Now this is more photogenic. You can kind of see where it looks like there, but where it's brown on the edges and then lighter on the inside, you can just flip it back over. And that's French toast. Super simple, but it's got a lot of stuff that I grew up with not putting in my French toast.
Yeah, this was very different.
We did hit it with a little bit of powdered sugar there at the end, just to say we did. But it costs, with bacon was the most expensive part, but it cost like $10, and it fed me like 4 times. All right, there you have it, folks. That's our French toast, bacon, which is very few times we'll be able to use bacon because bacon is expensive. But it's a simple way to cook it unless you want to burn it, which is bad for you. And we'll see you next time on YouTube on Tuesdays and Fridays, on Instagram at Living Between, or on Facebook at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen, or you can find us on Patreon at Living Between Paychecks Kitchen over there if you feel like helping us out. We really very much appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.